Don't touch that with your dirty welfare fingers. Janet Phillips slapped Maya Johnson's hand away from the marble counter, hard. The sting shot up Maya's wrist as her worn leather portfolio tumbled open, spilling documents across the executive banking floor. "Security!" Phillips barked, her voice echoing through the pristine space. "We have a situation." Phones appeared instantly. A young teller started live streaming, whispering, "Oh my God, this is so awkward." Customers backed away like Maya carried something contagious. Maya knelt slowly, gathering her scattered papers. Her navy blazer sleeve rode up, revealing a platinum Cartier watch that caught the afternoon light. Phillips stood over her, arms crossed. "The welfare office is 6 blocks down, honey. This floor is for actual clients." Maya's fingers closed around a first-class boarding pass. Zurich to Atlanta. Yesterday. Have you ever held the power to destroy someone's entire world while they treated you like garbage? The humiliation spread like wildfire across the marble floor. Phillips stepped closer, her designer heels clicking with authority as Maya remained crouched, collecting her papers with deliberate calm. "Sarah, are you getting this?" Phillips called to the young teller whose phone was aimed directly at Maya. The live stream counter climbed. 47 viewers, 72, 105. Sarah's voice carried across the open floor. "Oh, absolutely. This is wild. She just walked in here like she owned the place." Comments flooded the screen. "Call the cops! Why is she even up there? Security taking forever, LOL." The wall clock read 2:52 p.m., 8 minutes until the Meridian acquisition announcement. Maya stood slowly, her portfolio reorganized. Phillips looked her up and down with theatrical disgust. Target blazer, Payless shoes. But the handbag. Maya caught Phillips' eyes lingering on the Hermes Birkin bag, confusion flickering across her face. "Ma'am," Phillips announced, loud enough for the entire floor, "our minimum loan amount is $50,000. Perhaps you'd be more comfortable at our community branch downtown where they handle—" She paused for effect. "Smaller needs." 3 customers in the VIP waiting area had their phones out now. A security guard approached slowly, hand resting on his radio. Maya noticed the CCTV camera overhead, its red light blinking steadily. "I'd like to speak with someone about business restructuring," Maya said quietly. Phillips's laugh was sharp, designed to carry. "Restructuring what? Your food budget?" The nearby desks erupted in snickers. "Honey, we deal with corporations here, not EBT cards." Maya's phone buzzed. The screen lit up. +41 22 9087 400, Swiss International Code. She declined the call without looking up. Manager Tom Bradley emerged from his glass office, drawn by the commotion. His expensive suit and confident stride marked him as someone accustomed to being the most important person in any room. He assessed the situation quickly. Black woman, simple clothes, crowd of recording phones. "Problem here, Janet?" he asked, deliberately using Phillips's first name to establish hierarchy. "Just explaining our policies to this lady," Phillips replied. "She seems confused about which services we offer." Bradley crossed his arms, joining the wall of authority. "Ma'am, I'm going to have to ask what your business is here. This floor requires appointments for qualified clients." "Qualified how?" Maya's voice remained level. "Well," Bradley gestured broadly, "clients who meet our asset requirements. Private banking starts at $2 million in liquid assets." His tone suggested the absurdity of her even asking. Sarah's live stream hit 400 viewers. The comments were getting uglier. "Why doesn't she just leave?" "Entitled much." "Security, where are you at?" Maya glanced at her phone again. 2:54 p.m. 6 minutes. "I'd like to see your supervisor," she said. Phillips stepped forward, invading Maya's personal space. "Honey, I am the supervisor for people like you, and I'm telling you to leave before this gets embarrassing." The security guard finally reached them. Officer Martinez looked uncomfortable but determined. "Ma'am, is there a problem here?" "No problem," Maya said softly. "Just trying to conduct business." "What kind of business?" Martinez asked, his hand moving to his radio. Bradley jumped in. "The kind that doesn't belong on this floor, apparently. Ma'am, I'm going to need to see some identification and verification of your appointment." Maya reached into her Birkin bag. Phillips watched, expecting to see a worn wallet or government assistance card. Instead, Maya withdrew a slim leather portfolio and extracted a business card. But she didn't hand it over. Not yet. Her phone buzzed again. Same Swiss number. She declined it once more, but not before Phillips noticed the international format. "Lady, we don't have all day," Phillips snapped. "Show us your ID or leave. Some of us have real work to do." The crowd had grown. 2 more customers from the main floor had wandered up, drawn by the spectacle. Sarah's live stream viewer count hit 600. Someone had shared it to a local Facebook group. Karen manager versus welfare mom at First National. Maya's second phone, a sleek device most people wouldn't recognize as the latest encrypted satellite model, vibrated with a text message. She glanced at it briefly, her expression unchanged. Bradley checked his watch. "Ma'am, I'm going to count to 10, then security will escort you out." 1. Maya looked around the circle of faces, phones recording from multiple angles. Phillips's smug satisfaction, Bradley's impatience, Martinez's hand tightening on his radio, the growing crowd of spectators. 2. She opened her portfolio again, fingers moving past several documents to find something specific. 3. Sarah zoomed in with her phone, trying to catch what Maya was looking for. The live stream comments urged her closer. "Get a good shot. This is better than TV." 4. Maya's fingers found what she needed. A single sheet of paper, heavy stock with an embossed letterhead. She held it against her chest, not yet revealing it. 5. Her satellite phone buzzed with another message. This time she looked at it. A small smile played at the corner of her mouth, so brief that only the security camera caught it. 6. Phillips leaned forward. "Time's up, welfare queen." "Martinez, remove her." 7. Maya looked up at the CCTV camera, then directly at Phillips. "You know what? You're absolutely right." 8. She started to turn toward the elevator as if accepting defeat. Phillips's triumph was visible. Bradley relaxed. The crowd began to murmur about the anticlimactic ending. 9. Maya stopped, turned back. "Actually, I just remembered something." Her phone, the regular one, rang, loudly. The ringtone was Beethoven's Ninth Symphony. Phillips rolled her eyes at what she assumed was pretentious affectation. Maya answered it. "Yes, Klaus?" The name hung in the air. Klaus. Not exactly a name you'd expect from someone seeking welfare assistance. 10, Bradley finished weakly, but Maya was already speaking into the phone. "I'm still at the bank." "No, there's been a complication." Maya's voice into the phone was perfectly calm. "Klaus, hold on one moment." She looked directly at Phillips. "I'm sorry, could you repeat what you just called me?" Phillips's confidence wavered for a split second, then returned full force. "I said it's time for you to leave." "Now?" "Welfare queen, wasn't it?" Maya's tone remained neutral, almost conversational. "Klaus, did you catch that?" Yes, she did say welfare queen, to my face, while live streaming. Sarah's viewer count exploded past 1,200. The comments were a mix of excitement and confusion. "Who is Klaus? This is getting crazy. Plot twist incoming." Bradley stepped forward aggressively. "Ma'am, end the call. You're disrupting our business." Maya held up one finger, a gesture so naturally authoritative that Bradley actually paused. "Klaus, I'll call you back in exactly 3 minutes." She hung up. The security guard's radio crackled. "Martinez, what's your status up there?" "Under control," Martinez replied, but his voice carried uncertainty. He'd been security here for 6 years and had never seen anything like this. Most people confronted by bank staff either left immediately or escalated to screaming. This woman's calm was unnerving. Phillips grabbed a security phone from her desk. "I'm calling the police." This is harassment now. Maya watched her dial with mild interest. "What are you going to tell them?" "That a customer asked to conduct business?" "I'm going to tell them," Phillips spoke loud enough for everyone to hear, "that someone is trespassing on private property after being asked to leave multiple times. That she's recording us without permission and making threats." "What threats?" Maya asked. "The phone call." "The Klaus person. You're obviously planning something." Around them, more staff members had gathered. Word was spreading through the building about the confrontation on the executive floor. Tellers from lower floors found excuses to visit the break room nearby. Administrative assistants lingered by the copy machine. Everyone wanted to see the woman who was standing up to Janet Phillips. The clock read 2:56 p.m. 4 minutes. A new player entered the drama. Jennifer Walsh, the regional compliance manager, stepped off the elevator. She'd been alerted by security about a situation and arrived expecting a routine removal. Instead, she found a crowd, multiple phones recording, and her staff surrounding a single woman who stood perfectly still in the center of it all. "What exactly is happening here?" Walsh's voice cut through the noise. Bradley rushed to explain. "Trespasser, won't leave. Janet's handling it according to protocol." Walsh looked at Maya, taking in the simple clothes, the expensive handbag, the complete lack of distress despite being surrounded by hostile staff. 20 years in banking compliance had taught her to spot potential problems, and something felt very wrong about this situation. "Ma'am," Walsh addressed Maya directly, "can you explain why you're here?" "Business restructuring consultation," Maya replied. "Though your staff seems to have strong opinions about my qualifications based on my appearance." Sarah had moved closer with her phone, practically broadcasting into Maya's face now. The live stream chat was moving too fast to read. Hundreds of comments streaming past in real time. She was gaining followers by the minute as word spread across social media. "This is going viral," Sarah whispered to her co-worker. "Look at these numbers." Phillips hung up her security phone. "Police are on their way." 5 minutes. Maya checked her satellite phone. A message appeared. "Maya, merger docs signed on our end. Awaiting your final confirmation. Klaus Weber, Managing Director, Zenith Capital." She scrolled through several other messages. Her legal team in Switzerland, her PR firm in New York, her assistant in Atlanta, all waiting for her signal, all depending on what happened in the next few minutes. She looked up at the circle of faces surrounding her, Phillips radiating smugness. Bradley checked his watch impatiently, probably wondering why the merger announcement was delayed. Walsh looked increasingly uncomfortable with the situation. Sarah broadcast their humiliation of her to over 1,500 viewers worldwide. "You know what the interesting thing about live streams is?" Maya said conversationally. "What?" Sarah asked, still recording. "They create a permanent record. Every word, every action, time-stamped and impossible to deny later." Maya's voice carried a hint of something that made Walsh step closer. Phillips laughed harshly. "Good. Then everyone can see what happens when people try to scam their way into places they don't belong. This is exactly why we have security protocols." "And what protocol," Maya asked quietly, "covers slapping customers' hands and calling them welfare queens?" The question landed like a physical blow. Walsh's face went white. She'd missed that part when she arrived, but the live stream had captured everything. Federal banking regulations were very specific about customer treatment and discrimination. Maya's satellite phone buzzed again. This time she answered it immediately. Yes? Maya, it's Klaus. The police scanner shows units heading to your location. Should we proceed with Plan B? The conversation continued briefly in German. Maya's fluency was flawless, her accent suggesting education at expensive European institutions. She hung up and looked directly at the CCTV camera above them. Could someone please tell me, Maya said slowly, who authorized the live streaming of private banking conversations? Walsh frowned. Sarah, turn that off. Now. Banking regulations prohibit... But it's public space, Sarah protested. It's a private bank conducting financial business. Turn it off. Walsh's compliance training was screaming warnings. Unauthorized recording in a financial institution could trigger federal investigations, especially if discrimination was involved. Don't you dare, Phillips snapped at Sarah. Keep recording. I want evidence of this whole thing. She's been threatening us. Sarah looked between her manager and the compliance officer, confused. The live stream was her biggest moment ever. Nearly 2,000 viewers hanging on every word. She kept recording. Maya pulled out her regular phone and began recording as well. Since we're making evidence, let's make sure we have multiple angles. Bradley stepped forward threateningly. Put that away. You have no right. I have every right to document my treatment in a public accommodation, Maya replied. The Civil Rights Act is very clear about that. Why? Maya asked when Bradley moved closer. You just said you wanted evidence. I'm helping ensure we have a complete record. Martinez moved closer, his hand now on his radio. The situation was escalating beyond his training. Ma'am, I need you to stop recording and come with me. Am I under arrest? You're trespassing. On what specific grounds? I haven't been asked to leave for any legitimate reason. I've made no threats. I've caused no disturbance beyond asking to conduct business. The question hung in the air. Walsh realized they were in catastrophic territory. A black woman asked to leave a bank for no stated reason, surrounded by white staff with everything being recorded and broadcast live. The optics were a compliance nightmare. Tom, Walsh said quietly, maybe we should step back and... Should what? Phillips interrupted. Let her think she can just walk in here and intimidate us with fancy phones and fake accents? I don't think so. Maya's satellite phone rang again. She answered without hesitation. Go ahead, Klaus. Yes, I can see them arriving now. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows, police cars were pulling up outside. 3 units, lights flashing. A small crowd was gathering on the sidewalk, drawn by the activity. Phillips smiled triumphantly. Game over. Maya looked at her watch. A Patek Philippe that cost more than Phillips made in a year. 2 minutes. You know, Maya said, ending her call, you're absolutely right about one thing, Janet. Phillips' eyebrows rose at the use of her first name. Game over is exactly right. Maya's voice remained calm, but something had shifted. The room's energy changed, though no one could pinpoint exactly why. The elevator dinged. 3 police officers stepped onto the floor. 2:59 p.m. 1 minute left. The 3 police officers surveyed the scene with practiced eyes. A crowd of bank employees, phones recording, one well-dressed black woman standing calmly in the center of what looked like a hostage situation. Officers, Phillips called out before they could assess properly. This woman is trespassing and refusing to leave private property. She's been making threats and disrupting our business for 20 minutes. Officer Davis, the senior officer, looked around slowly. Ma'am, step back, please. Let us handle this. He approached Maya. I'm Officer Davis. Can you tell me what's happening here? Maya's satellite phone chose that moment to ring. The Beethoven ringtone echoed through the suddenly quiet floor. "Officer, may I answer this?" "It's rather urgent." Davis nodded, curious about her complete lack of nervousness. Maya answered in clear professional English. "Klaus, perfect timing. Yes, the police are here now. No, proceed as planned. The 3 o'clock deadline? Cancel it." Philip's triumph began to crack around the edges. Something about that phone call felt wrong. Maya continued. "Inform Zurich that First National is no longer a viable acquisition target. Yes, Klaus. All 900 million. Cancel the entire Meridian transaction." The words hit the air like physical objects. 900 million. Meridian transaction. Acquisition target. Bradley's face went ashen. "Wait! What did you just say?" Maya lowered the phone but didn't hang up. "I said cancel the acquisition. First National Bank is no longer being purchased by Zenith Capital Management." The silence stretched like a wire about to snap. Walsh stepped forward shakily. "Did you say Zenith Capital?" "That's correct." Maya reached into her Birkin bag and withdrew a leather portfolio. Not the worn one from earlier, a different one. Pristine black leather with a gold Zenith logo embossed on the front. She opened it deliberately, allowing everyone to see the documents inside. Official letterhead, Swiss banking seals, signatures in multiple languages, Dr. Maya Johnson, Chief Executive Officer, Zenith Capital Management. She handed her business card to Officer Davis first, then to Walsh. "We were scheduled to complete the acquisition of First National Bank today at 3 p.m., $900 million. Phillips grabbed the card from Walsh's trembling hand. Her eyes scanned it once, twice, 3 times. Premium card stock, embossed gold lettering, Swiss address, multiple phone numbers including the satellite line that had been ringing all afternoon. "This is fake," Phillips whispered, but her voice carried no conviction. Maya's satellite phone was still connected. "Klaus, could you speak to Officer Davis, please? Verify our conversation." She handed the phone to the bewildered policeman. A crisp Swiss-German accent came through clearly. "Officer, this is Klaus Weber, Managing Director of Zenith Capital Management. Dr. Johnson is indeed our CEO, and we were indeed scheduled to acquire First National Bank this afternoon for $900 million US. May I ask what the delay is concerning?" Davis handed the phone back to Maya, his entire demeanor changed. "Ma'am, I think there's been a misunderstanding here." Sarah's live stream had exploded. The viewer count hit 5,000 and climbing. Comments flooded past. "Holy shit, she's the CEO! 900 million? This bank is fucked!" Maya took the phone back. "Klaus, execute Protocol 7 immediately. Yes, all of it. Have the legal team standing by. And Klaus? Make sure the press release goes out at exactly 3:01 p.m. She hung up and looked around the circle of faces. Every expression had transformed. Phillips looked like she was about to vomit. Bradley was frantically checking his own phone. Walsh was trying to calculate the magnitude of the disaster. "Officer Davis," Maya said calmly, "I believe there's been a case of mistaken identity. These employees assumed I was here seeking social services rather than conducting a $900 million business transaction." Maya opened her portfolio fully now, revealing documents that made Walsh gasp audibly. Purchase agreements, due diligence reports, federal banking authorization forms, all bearing today's date, all signed and notarized. The acquisition was scheduled for completion in... Maya checked her Patek Philippe. 90 seconds. Unfortunately, the treatment I've received today has caused me to reconsider whether First National shares our corporate values. Bradley found his voice first. "Dr. Johnson, I'm sure there's been a terrible misunderstanding." "Has there been?" Maya's voice remained level. "Let me recap the last 20 minutes for everyone." She gestured to Sarah's phone. "Still recording?" "Good." Let's make sure we have this right. Maya began walking slowly around the circle, like a prosecutor addressing a jury. I entered this bank to finalize a business transaction. I was immediately told to get my welfare hands off your marble counters. My business documents were deliberately knocked to the floor. I was called a welfare queen multiple times. Phillips tried to interrupt. Dr. Johnson, if I had known... If you had known what? That I could destroy your career? That's your concern? Maya's voice carried the first edge of steel anyone had heard. Not that you treated another human being with contempt based solely on the color of her skin. The live stream comments were moving too fast to read. Someone had shared it to Twitter where hashtag First National Bank was beginning to trend nationally. Maya's regular phone buzzed with a text message. She glanced at it and allowed herself a small smile. Gentlemen, she addressed the police officers, I believe your services are no longer needed. This has become a corporate matter. Officer Davis nodded slowly. Ma'am, do you want to press charges for assault? He'd heard enough to know Phillips had physically slapped Maya's hand. Not today, officer. But I appreciate the offer. As the police prepared to leave, Maya turned back to the bank employees. Phillips had gone completely white. Bradley was whispering frantically into his phone. Walsh looked like she was calculating her own unemployment benefits. Now then, Maya said, settling into a chair that someone quickly vacated. Let's discuss what happens next. Her satellite phone rang again. This time she put it on speaker. Dr. Johnson, this is Marcus Webb from the Federal Reserve Bank of Atlanta. We've received some concerning reports about discriminatory practices at First National. Given that you were there conducting acquisition due diligence, we'd like to schedule an immediate review of their compliance procedures. Phillips made a sound like air escaping from a punctured tire. Maya looked directly at the CCTV camera, then at Sarah's live stream, then finally at Phillips. Marcus, I'll be happy to provide a full report. In fact, we have extensive video documentation of today's interactions, multiple angles. The Federal Reserve official's voice carried through the speakerphone. Excellent. We'll expect your report within 24 hours. If the allegations are substantiated, we'll need to discuss whether First National should retain its federal banking charter. Maya ended the call and folded her hands in her lap. Around her, the bank's executive staff stood frozen like statues, finally understanding the magnitude of what they'd done. The clock struck 3 p.m. Now, Maya said quietly, shall we discuss the terms of your surrender? Maya opened a different folder from her portfolio, one marked Contingency Protocols in red lettering. The assembled bank staff watched her movements like prey animals tracking a predator. Let me share some numbers with you, Maya began, her voice carrying the authority of boardrooms and federal hearings. First National Bank's current market capitalization, $1.2 billion. Your quarterly losses for the past 18 months, $47 million per quarter. That's $141 million in losses over 3 quarters. She pulled out a tablet and began scrolling through financial documents. Your regulatory fines for discrimination lawsuits in the past 2 years, $23.7 million. Pending litigation related to discriminatory lending practices, 12 active cases representing approximately $68 million in potential damages. Bradley's phone was buzzing incessantly. Text messages from the board of directors who had just received emergency alerts about the failed acquisition. Your loan default rate, Maya continued, is currently running at 8.3%, nearly triple the industry standard of 3.1%. Your customer satisfaction scores rank in the bottom 15% of regional banks. Your diversity metrics, she paused for effect. Well, let's just say they're statistically insignificant. Walsh was frantically taking notes, recognizing that every word would be scrutinized by federal regulators. Now, the acquisition that just evaporated, Maya's fingers moved across her tablet, was structured as follows. Zenith Capital Management was purchasing First National for $900 million, approximately 15% above your current market value. We were also committing to a $200 million capital injection for modernization and expansion. Phillips found her voice, though it came out as a croak. Dr. Johnson, surely we can discuss this. Maya held up her hand. I'm not finished with the numbers, Janet. The acquisition included plans for 47 new branch locations in underserved communities, creating approximately 2,000 jobs. We had committed to maintaining all current employment for a minimum of 2 years, with enhanced benefits packages. She looked up from her tablet. That was $1.1 billion in economic impact for this region, past tense. Bradley stepped forward desperately. Dr. Johnson, if there's any way to salvage this transaction— Oh, there is, Maya replied, but not the transaction you're thinking of. Her satellite phone rang. She answered on speaker again. Yes, Klaus? Maya, the Meridian documents have been officially withdrawn. Legal is preparing the press release for 315. Should we proceed with the alternative acquisition targets? Which alternatives? Coastal Trust made a very attractive counteroffer, $2 billion for a much larger portfolio, and Sterling Financial is offering complete market penetration in 3 states. Maya looked around the room. Hold on those for now, Klaus. We may have a more interesting option developing here. She ended the call and stood up, walking to the floor-to-ceiling windows that overlooked downtown Atlanta. You see, Zenith Capital Management doesn't just acquire banks. We transform them. We were planning to make First National a model for ethical banking practices. Where? Walsh asked quietly. Past tense, yes, but I'm considering a different approach now. Maya turned back to face them. Instead of acquisition, I'm thinking about a hostile takeover. The words hung in the air like a death sentence. Dr. Johnson, Bradley stammered. What would that entail? Maya returned to her tablet. Given your current financial position, a hostile takeover would be relatively simple. We'd purchase shares on the open market, probably acquire controlling interest within 60 days at current prices. No premium, no consultation with your board, no job protections for existing management. She swiped through several screens. Of course, the first order of business would be terminating executives who've demonstrated poor judgment. Then we'd close underperforming branches, probably eliminate about 30% of current positions to achieve profitability. Phillips was visibly shaking now. You can't just— Actually, I can. But I'm going to offer you a third option. Maya set down her tablet and looked at each of them in turn. A choice. Sarah's live stream had reached 8,000 viewers. Someone had alerted local news stations, and outside the windows Maya could see vans arriving with satellite dishes. Option 1, Maya said, beginning to pace like a trial lawyer delivering closing arguments. Complete cooperation, full acknowledgement of what happened here today. Immediate termination of employees who engaged in discriminatory behavior. Public apology from the bank's leadership. Implementation of comprehensive diversity and inclusion protocols. She paused at Phillips's desk, where a small nameplate read, Senior Loan Officer, 15 years of service. Janet Phillips, terminated immediately. No severance, no recommendations. Complete forfeiture of pension benefits due to violation of federal civil rights statutes. Phillips's legs gave out. She sank into a nearby chair. Tom Bradley. Suspension pending investigation. If the investigation determines you failed to prevent a hostile work environment, termination with cause. Bradley's phone continued buzzing. He was afraid to look at it. The bank will establish a $500,000 fund for financial literacy programs in communities of color, mandatory unconscious bias training for all employees, third-party monitoring of lending practices for 2 years, installation of an anonymous reporting system for discrimination incidents. Maya returned to her position by the windows. In exchange, I'll consider resuming acquisition discussions. At a significantly reduced price, of course. $700 million instead of $900 million. The $200 million difference will serve as a penalty for today's behavior. Walsh was scribbling frantically. And option 2? Option 2 is simple. You refuse my terms, and Zenith proceeds with hostile takeover. We gut the bank, fire 60% of staff, and use it as a cautionary tale in business schools about the cost of institutional racism. Maya's regular phone buzzed with a text from her legal team. CNN wants an exclusive interview. The Federal Reserve confirms the investigation. Stock down 18% in after-hours trading. How long do we have to decide? Bradley asked weakly. Maya checked her watch. You have until the market closes tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern. If I don't have a signed agreement to my terms by then, Zenith begins purchasing shares on the open market Friday morning. Her satellite phone rang again. This time, Klaus's voice carried excitement. Maya, you need to see the news coverage. This is going national. Social media is exploding. # First National Bank is trending worldwide. Maya glanced at Sarah, who was still live streaming to what was now over 10,000 viewers. Klaus, I think we're going to be busy tonight. She ended the call and addressed the room. Now, I need to speak with your board of directors. Conference call, immediately. Bradley fumbled with his phone. I'll set that up right away. Good. While you're doing that, Janet needs to clean out her desk. Security will escort her from the building in 10 minutes. Phillips looked up with tears in her eyes. Dr. Johnson, please. I have children, a mortgage. I've been here 15 years. Maya's expression didn't change. You should have thought about that before you decided my skin color determined my worth. She turned to Walsh. Jennifer, you're now the interim senior loan officer. Your first responsibility is reviewing every loan application Janet has handled in the past 2 years. I suspect we'll find some interesting patterns in approval rates based on applicant demographics. Walsh nodded numbly. Maya's phone buzzed with another message. This one made her smile, the first genuine smile anyone had seen from her all afternoon. Gentlemen and ladies, she announced, I've just received confirmation that this entire interaction has been viewed by over 50,000 people across multiple platforms. The story is being picked up by major news networks. Congressional representatives are calling for banking regulation reform. She gathered her documents and prepared to leave. Oh, and one more thing. That satellite phone that's been bothering you so much? It's encrypted and records all calls automatically. Every conversation I've had today is documented and admissible in federal court. Maya headed toward the elevator, then paused and turned back. Janet, before security escorts you out, I want you to understand something. This isn't about revenge. This is about ensuring that no other person ever has to endure what you put me through today. Your career ended the moment you decided my humanity was negotiable. The elevator doors opened. Maya stepped inside and turned to face the devastated group one final time. 4 p.m. tomorrow. Don't disappoint me again. 24 hours later. The First National Bank boardroom had never seen anything like it. Emergency session. Federal regulators present. Media vans lined the street outside, and Dr. Maya Johnson sitting at the head of the conference table where she'd never been invited before. Board Chairman Robert Sterling looked like he'd aged 5 years overnight. Dr. Johnson, on behalf of First National's Board of Directors, I want to formally apologize for yesterday's incident. Maya's legal team flanked her, 3 attorneys who'd flown in from New York and Switzerland. The signed agreement lay on the table between them, still warm from the printer. Apologies are noted, Mr. Sterling. Let's discuss implementation. The door opened and Jennifer Walsh entered, carrying a thick folder. Her promotion to Vice President of Operations had been confirmed an hour ago. Dr. Johnson, here's the preliminary audit of Janet Phillips' loan decisions. Maya opened the folder and scanned the contents. Her expression remained neutral, but the attorneys beside her exchanged glances. 47 loan applications from minority applicants over 2 years. 47 denials. Average credit scores of denied applicants, 738. Sterling winced. That's statistically impossible unless... Unless the decisions were based on factors other than creditworthiness, Maya finished. Jennifer, please provide copies to the Federal Reserve investigators and the Justice Department. 2 hours earlier, Phillips had returned to clean out her desk under security escort. The executive floor was eerily quiet as she packed 15 years of her career into cardboard boxes. Her termination had made national news. Her LinkedIn profile had been deactivated after receiving thousands of angry messages. Sarah, the live streaming teller, had also been terminated. Not for the recording, which had become crucial evidence, but for actively participating in the harassment. Her video had been viewed over 2 million times across all platforms. Present moment. Maya stood and walked to the conference room's smartboard. With a few taps, she displayed a comprehensive reform plan. Effective immediately, First National will implement what we're calling the Dignity Protocol. The board members leaned forward, taking notes frantically. First component. Every customer interaction will be monitored for the first 6 months. Audio recordings, transaction reviews, and mandatory customer feedback surveys. Any employee with a pattern of discriminatory behavior will be terminated immediately. She clicked to the next slide. Second, the anonymous reporting app goes live Monday. Customers can report discrimination in real time, with complaints going directly to federal compliance officers and my office simultaneously. Federal regulator Maria Santos nodded approvingly. This exceeds FDIC requirements significantly. Third component, Maya continued, financial accessibility initiatives. The $500,000 fund is just the beginning. First National will partner with historically black colleges and universities to provide financial literacy education, free business account setup for minority-owned small businesses, simplified loan applications in multiple languages. Board member Elizabeth Harper raised her hand. Dr. Johnson, the cost of these initiatives will be offset by improved efficiency and reduced legal exposure, Maya cut her off. Do you know how much First National spent on discrimination lawsuit settlements last year? $23.7 million. These prevention measures will cost approximately $4 million annually and eliminate those lawsuit costs entirely. She clicked on a financial projection chart. Furthermore, expanding into underserved markets will increase your customer base by an estimated 32% within 18 months. Diversity isn't just morally correct. It's profitable. 3 weeks later, Maya returned to the same executive floor for a follow-up inspection. The transformation was remarkable. The staff was noticeably more diverse. Customer service scores had improved 40%. Most importantly, the atmosphere felt different. The new senior loan officer, Marcus Williams, a young black man recruited from a competitor, greeted her warmly. Dr. Johnson, welcome back. Much different experience this time, I hope. Maya smiled genuinely. Much different indeed. She walked through the space where she'd been humiliated just weeks ago. New training posters lined the walls. Every customer deserves dignity and excellence through inclusion. The marble counters were the same, but they no longer felt like barriers. The ripple effect. The First National incident had sparked nationwide conversations about banking discrimination. 12 other major banks had proactively implemented similar diversity protocols rather than risk their own public relations disasters. Congressional hearings were scheduled. New federal guidelines were being drafted. Maya's phone buzzed with a message from Klaus. Maya, Sterling's board approved our acquisition proposal, plus 3 more banks want to discuss voluntary diversity partnerships. Your approach is becoming the industry standard. 6 months later, Maya stood before a congressional subcommittee, testifying about discrimination in financial services. The same live stream video that had started everything was played during the hearing, drawing gasps from representatives who were seeing it for the first time. Representative Johnson, the committee chair addressed her. What would you say to critics who argue that one incident shouldn't drive industry-wide changes? Maya leaned into the microphone. I would say that one documented incident reveals thousands of undocumented ones. For every person like me who had the resources to fight back, how many others simply walked away, accepting that dignity wasn't available to them in that space? She paused, looking directly at the cameras broadcasting the hearing live. The question isn't whether discrimination happens. The question is whether we'll continue tolerating it when we have the tools to prevent it. Present day. First National Bank. The same executive floor now bustled with diverse staff serving customers of all backgrounds. A plaque by the elevator read, "In recognition of Dr. Maya Johnson, whose courage transformed our institution and our industry." Walsh, now regional vice president, often shared the story with new employees during orientation, not as a cautionary tale, but as a transformation story, proof that individuals could create systemic change. The Dignity Protocol had been adopted by over 200 financial institutions nationwide. Discrimination complaints in participating banks had dropped by 89%. Customer satisfaction scores across all demographics had increased significantly. Maya's final text to Klaus that first day had become a motto printed on business cards throughout the Zenith organization. Real power isn't revenge. It's making sure this never happens to anyone else. The intellectual victory. No one had been physically harmed. No property was damaged. No voices were raised. Maya had won through pure economic leverage and moral authority, proving that sustainable change came from addressing systems, not just symptoms. Phillips had found work at a small credit union, where her supervisor was a black woman who knew her history but believed in second chances. Bradley had undergone sensitivity training and now managed a community branch focused on serving immigrant populations. The bank's stock price had recovered and exceeded pre-incident levels. Customer deposits had increased 34%. Employee satisfaction scores reached company records. Maya had proven that doing the right thing was also good business. 1 year later, Maya stood in the lobby of First National Bank's new flagship branch in East Atlanta, a community that had been historically underserved by major financial institutions. The grand opening celebration buzzed with energy as local business owners, community leaders, and families explored their new neighborhood bank. The branch manager, Keisha Thompson, approached with a warm smile. Keisha had been hired through the bank's new community leadership program, one of many initiatives born from that pivotal afternoon on the executive floor. "Dr. Johnson, thank you for being here today. This branch represents everything we've worked toward." Maya watched a young black mother opening her daughter's first savings account, both of them beaming with pride. The same transaction that would have been routine elsewhere felt revolutionary here, dignity and respect as the foundation of every interaction. The transformation measured. The numbers told an extraordinary story. First National's discrimination complaints, 0 in the past 12 months. Customer satisfaction scores, industry-leading across all demographics. Employee diversity, 47% people of color in management positions, up from 8% the previous year. But the real victory wasn't in statistics. It was in moments like this. Maya observed an elderly Hispanic gentleman conducting business in Spanish with a bilingual loan officer. A young entrepreneur with visible tattoos receiving the same respectful treatment as someone in an expensive suit. A transgender customer opening a business account without having to explain or defend their identity. "This is what dignity looks like," Maya murmured to herself. The ripple continues. Her phone buzzed with updates from around the country. The Maya Johnson effect had spread far beyond banking. Retail chains were implementing customer dignity protocols. Healthcare systems were adopting bias training programs. Even government agencies were citing the First National transformation in their diversity initiatives. The viral video had been viewed over 50 million times across all platforms. It was studied in business schools as a case study in crisis management and ethical leadership. Maya had received speaking invitations from Harvard, Stanford, and the World Economic Forum. But tonight's engagement was different. Tonight, she was speaking at a community college in Atlanta, returning to her roots, talking to students who looked like her daughter. The real legacy. Maya's daughter, Jasmine, now 14, sometimes accompanied her to these speaking events. After the first national incident, Jasmine had asked the question that kept Maya motivated. "Mom, will people treat me differently too?" "Some might try," Maya had answered honestly. "But now you know that you have power. Not just money or position, the power to demand dignity and create change when you don't receive it." Jasmine understood now that her mother's quiet strength that day hadn't just saved one business deal. It had shifted an entire industry's consciousness about how people deserved to be treated. The methodology of change. What made Maya's approach revolutionary wasn't the wealth or corporate position, it was the methodology. She had documented everything, remained calm under pressure, used systems and laws already in place, built coalitions of support through media and public opinion. Most importantly, she had focused on creating sustainable change rather than personal revenge. Other incidents of discrimination now followed: the Johnson Protocol. Document. Don't escalate. Demand accountability. Create systematic solutions. The approach was being taught in civil rights organizations, business schools, and community advocacy groups. The corporate testimony. At last month's shareholder meeting, First National's Chairman Sterling had stood before investors and declared, "The best business decision we've made in decades was learning from Dr. Johnson's experience. Our profits are up 23%, our customer base has expanded by 40%, and our brand reputation has never been stronger. Dignity and inclusion aren't just moral imperatives, they're competitive advantages." Phillips, watching the live stream from her small credit union office, had felt a complex mix of emotions: regret for her actions, but also recognition that the transformation might never have happened without that catalyst moment. She'd sent Maya a handwritten letter, not seeking forgiveness, but expressing gratitude for the industry-wide changes that had made her a better person and professional. The call to everyday heroes. As Maya prepared to leave the branch opening, a young woman approached hesitantly. "Dr. Johnson, I'm starting my MBA next year. I want to do what you do, create change through business." Maya smiled, remembering her own young ambitions. What you do matters less than how you do it. Every interaction is an opportunity to demand dignity for yourself and others. You don't need millions of dollars or a CEO title. You just need to refuse to accept that discrimination is normal. She handed the young woman her card. "Email me. We have internship programs designed for people who want to change systems from the inside." The invitation to action. Maya looked directly into the news camera that had followed her throughout the day. Behind her, the bustling branch represented possibility, proof that individual courage could reshape entire institutions. "Every single day someone faces what I faced that afternoon," she said to the lens, knowing her words would reach millions. "The question isn't whether discrimination still exists. We know it does. The question is, what will you do when you witness it?" She paused, her voice carrying the same quiet power that had transformed a bank. Share your stories. Document injustice when you see it. Support businesses that treat all customers with dignity. And remember, change doesn't require permission from those in power. It requires the courage to act when power fails to do what's right. The camera captured her final words. "If my story moved you, don't just watch. Act. Subscribe to voices that demand better. Share stories that create change. Use #, Quiet Power Wins to show moments when dignity triumphed over discrimination. Because quiet power isn't silent power. It's strategic power. And it's available to every single one of us."
The story you heard today wasn't cleaned up. It was told exactly as it happened. At Black Voices Uncut, we believe that's the only way truth can live. If you felt something, hit like, comment, and your reaction and subscribe. Every week, we bring you voices that refuse to be silenced.